a billboard or neon signs says, Jesus saves. Alright, next question. Is everyone familiar with Ronnie Lazaro?
Yeah.
The theater artist? At some point, he was going around and what was printed in his shirt was art saves. So, I remember a work that was curated by Gerardo Mosquera in one Latin American country, wherein they used art to bring together two warring gangs, like mga gang natin sa Tondo. Ang ginawa ng artist was to do a film separately of the two gangs, doing dance routines. Tapos pinalabas yung dalawang screens side by side doon sa community, with one gang on the left side and one gang on the right side. And at the end of the film, the two gangs just came together and just embraced each other. So, you know, this is a true story, you know. So I hope that answers the question, you know, somehow.
The theater reminds me of this film I actually showed in one of my classes, and I completely forget already. This filmmaker brought to the Tenderloin, to the underprivileged, low-income neighborhood in San Francisco. That's the movie. Yeah, movie's Don Goes. No name for the movie. You know,
the star was Cambodian,
right?
But the guy that made it,
Spencer Nasikov. So he did something similar to what Pete was talking about. What he did is he gave a recent arrived immigrant, Don Bonus, a video camera and asked him to document his everyday life. And what we get here is a document of what he did on an everyday life. And it was interesting because what it brought to the screen is his own personal history. And when I show it in class, it's in contrast to other cultural representations like mainstream movies. And it's interesting to see the experience of people. Oh, that's real. Oh, that's not real. And then showing I actually like the extras on the DVDs, which are always better, because they show how are these movies produced. I guess it's a long way of saying that art doesn't necessarily create change. Art creates the possibility for us to practice change. And that's why I say no. Art in of itself doesn't do anything. But when we go to these places, we see things in just a slightly different way. And when we come together and discuss those different ways, that's when we can negotiate and think about different ways around, I think, some of the issues that we raise.
It's just another way to restate what Professor Reyes has already mentioned, because I found your question really interesting, because you separate between the art, the object, and the people who make them. So to quote famous that we're all familiar with, walang himala, kayo ang himala.
We only have time for one more question.
Stephanie, I was so blown away by the first, the kilometric title of the first preparation, because it kind of like I was thinking about chismis, and if it can be diagrammed or visually or graphically expressed, that's what it would look like. And it's not just a circulation of narratives, but also sexual hormones. Because chismis is very erotic, right? I mean, you really have to be into some kind of S&M to engage in and be the object of chismis, right? You have to enjoy it, otherwise you will experience it as violence. So I really like that, just to show the nodes for movement, right? For movement, yeah. But anyway, it was just a comment. But for Johanna, I really would like to know a little bit more about the way that you use mural art to intervene in historiography, right? Like to tell other stories, as you call them, using visual art and in public spaces.
Oh yeah. Well, basically, when you enter a site and do a project which is trying to tell a story about a community, you need to do a lot of research and you need to outreach and meet the people that you're talking about. You know, and it's collaboration, and and there's a lot of people and a lot of approvals that you have to get all along the way, you know. But when the final say comes to you as an artist and how you're going to portray or use architecture and use the space, you bring all of the experience that you have as an interpreter, you know, to the images that you create. It's very complicated, really. It's very difficult, and it takes a long time to do any piece. You know, you can't just do it overnight. But one of the things I want to say is, though, in terms of art, is that it also takes a tremendous amount of improvisation, a tremendous amount of suspending what you think you know and listening to other people, you know, because a lot of times, and I think that is one of the main things art has taught me, you know, the practice of art, is that when you want to be able to create a better environment, a living environment, democracy, a way of being with people, you have to learn to listen, really. You have to think of music. You have to learn to listen and then change the way that you think and that you interpret. And you have to learn how to improvise. And I think that in most of the areas of work that we enter, people don't improvise. They want the rules. They want to memorize. They want to know. And art gives you that ability. So it opens up possibilities. And I would just say one more thing. No matter what field that you go into, because there's people here who are going to go into a lot of different fields, and you're not maybe going to be an artist, but find ways in your field to include artists and to include creativity and to include public projects and to include shows. And, you know, everybody can be a vehicle for this.
So on behalf of the Department of English, Critica Cultura, and the Fine Arts Program, I'd like to thank you for joining us for to formally give the closing remarks, we have Dr. Toby Wright, officer in charge of the Fine Arts Program.
Talking about art is just like talking about sex. It comes very close to the real thing. Dr. Reyes said that the Galleon trade is just a metaphor, but actually it's not just a metaphor, it is something that we bear in our genes and in our blood. That's why we're so ready to exchange everything. And for the FA majors who are here, they're mostly creative writers. In fact, I thought that maybe the ID major should have been here, but I think it's serendipitous that it's the creative writing majors who are here, because innovation happens at the crossroads of two extremes. So finally, I would like to formally tell Dr. Reyes that this is going to be the first of a series of, hopefully, cooperation with the Critica Cultura. Who is one of those who have started and of course there's a convergence between what's going on here, what's going on at the Instituto Cervantes, which features an exhibit of Frida Kahlo. So in that spirit, I close this.
So thank you once more for coming and